Hey, it's Theo and thank you for joining me. And today we have a huge balance patch coming to Hearthstone. It should be live in about 45 minutes after this video. So by the time you're watching it, it's already probably live. And yeah, there are some huge changes in this patch that will definitely shake up the meta. And especially Hunter is getting hit hard. So let's go over it. But first we have the dev comment. In this first balance patch change after the Embers of the World Tree mini set, we're addressing power and play experience outliers, both in the mini set and in the cards before it. These changes are primarily aimed at reducing the speed and prevalence of single turn blowouts. We're also buffing some of the deck archetypes that we want you to re-explore. On the wild side, we've also made some bans and card changes. Our philosophy with Wild is still that we will step in less often, only to address particularly egregious play experience and balance outliers, but we'll make impactful changes when we do. Standard cards that are banned in Wild are expected to be unbanned and adjusted when they rotate out of Standard. The last part I've done before, that means those Wild cards that are banned will be unbanned in just under 2 years. So yeah, that's quite a while. But let's go over the Standard changes. That's probably what you're mostly here for. Let's start with the Flickering Light Pot. So this one is going from 3 to 5 mana. So kind of a big change, but also, yeah, it only really is relevant in the early game, right? Because yeah, after turn 4, this card is going to be 0, regardless of the increase in mana cost. And yeah, it's a good change, right? No longer you can like easily get this on board turn 2, turn 3, and then buff it afterwards. It's a little bit more difficult. Though, yeah, I think some other changes are a little bit more relevant to the Drunk Paladin deck than this one, but it's good. Just slows the deck down a little bit early on. Though I rather wish they did something about the 8/8 version of it, but yeah, that's kind of hard to do, right? Because Gigantify, you can't really change a keyword like that, so we're kind of restricted in that part. Now let's go to the next change, which is to the Harbinger of the Blighted, which goes from 2 to 3 mana. And yeah, this is a pretty big nerf, because yeah, no longer you can do this on turn 1 with the coin. It's a lot harder to bounce, right? Because after Shadow Step it also costs 1, and just the increased mana cost, right? Just having this come down on the board 1 turn later is a huge difference. Because yeah, we know, right, the later 2-drops come down on the board, the worse it gets. Like, this card is awful, right, by turn 9, 10. And yeah, just delaying it by a turn is massive. And yeah, I'm happy it's getting nerfed, because yeah, this propped up the whole early game of Rogue. And yeah, kind of decided games, did the Rogue get Harbinger or did they not get it? Like, those games were entirely different. And yeah, sometimes games were just won on turn 1. When this got played with double Shadow Step, and possibly it was also the prep Web of Deception with it. So yeah, I'm glad it's getting nerfed. Oh yeah, it's a pretty big hit to a Rogue. Then let's get to the Hunter nerfs. And the first one is the Tending Dragonkin, which is going from a 3 mana 3/2 to a 5 mana 5/4. And yeah, that's a pretty hefty nerf. The stats, you don't really care about the stats, right? But yeah, plus 2 mana is pretty big. You might already see the King Plush nerf though. But yeah, this combination with King Plush, it's completely dead. Now we'll get to the King Plush change in a bit. But yeah, this card makes it way harder to combo anything. And the change just makes it way harder to do anything else in your turn than just copy one card. So yeah, pretty big nerf. But the biggest nerf to Imbue Hunter is the King Plush nerf. It's quite a weird change, but now it says, Battle Cry, if your opponent has 15 or less health, return all other minions to their owner's deck and gain charge. So that means that the Imbue Hunter, as we know it, is pretty much just dead. Like, yeah, the deck just never really attacked the opponent very much. So yeah, getting an opponent down to 15 health, yeah, it doesn't really happen. So the deck is completely dead. What they want to do with this change, right, is that yeah, you can't just focus on Plush as a singular win con. You actually have to have like a real deck, so to speak, that actually pushes damage, and then you can use this maybe as a finisher. And I think this change will just open up the meta a lot, because yeah, the whole meta was kind of revolving around the King Plush, the Imbue Hunter. And yeah, a lot of decks that just were awful against Hunter, right, just couldn't be played because it was so popular. And now with this deck, I think basically gone. I think we say that. I don't think the new Magma Hound is going to be anywhere close to as good as Plush. I doubt it's going to see play. So yeah, massive nerf and massive change to the meta. Just one change alone will make a massive difference. And then we have Cliff Dive for Demon Hunter, although Shaman can also play it through the Tourist, but it's a Demon Hunter card. And it's going from 6 to 7 mana. So yeah, good change. This card was a little too strong with like the Briarspawn Drake, McTheridan, and Illidar Inquisitor. Just, yeah, way too much damage that way. And it just wasn't very fun to face. So I'm glad we're addressing it, because this could be one of those decks that, yeah, if all the other decks get nerfed, this might just be top tier. And I don't really think we would want that. So nice change. Slows it down a bit, but I think that can still be viable. And the next change we have is Symbiosis, which reverts back to its old form of not having a discount. Yeah, Imbue Druid is really strong, and this card just really ramped up the plants very quickly. And with this change, right, it should be a bit slower. No longer you can play this on one and immediately play the 1 mana spell for free. So that should slow down the early game, which is where actually Druid was kind of strong, like the early mid game where they get like 4/4, 5/5 plants. This slows it down just maybe by a turn, and it really hurts Imbue Druid. Feel a bit sad though that like this card felt a bit clunky before the buff. But yeah, Imbue Druid a little too strong, so it kind of needed a nerf somewhere. And this was one of the best cards in the deck. And then for Warlock, we have the Curse Campaign getting nerfed from 3 to 4 mana. And yeah, this card, it's mostly just for the Inst of Your combination, right? Where you get like 3 yours on the board with this and Eternal Layover, and you just get infinite armor, infinite draw, and it was just a little bit too good. So it makes sense to nerf something there. I feel like rather that they would have nerfed something about, Ancient of Yore and Layover, how it works, that the Reborn doesn't summon it dormant again. I feel like that's a bit too strong, but I guess that's just a game mechanic and I didn't want to change that. But yeah, this one slows it down a bit, because no longer you can go Ancient of Yore on 5 and Layover and this card on 7. So that hurts quite a bit, and also you can't really easily go for like a Starship piece plus this one if that deck comes back. So yeah, decent nerf, and but yeah, it makes sense I think for Warlock to receive at least one nerf with all the other decks getting nerfed. And another nerf we have is the Sing-Along Buddy. It's going from a 2 mana 1/4 to a 3 mana 2/4. And yeah, just the nerf to the Imbue Hunter, I guess. I don't think it really needed another nerf after the other 2 nerfs, but yeah, Imbue Hunter getting nerfed again, and of course Imbue Druid as well. Because yeah, this card, it wasn't very special before for Imbue, right? But yeah, with some Imbue hero powers, this card became really strong. I'd say one of the best cards in like Imbue Druid as well. Getting 2 big plants in 1 turn, especially early on, was really strong. So it makes sense to maybe nerf this a little bit and slow it down. And it just makes Imbue Druid worse, although I think they'll still play. This card is just too good to not run. Then we have the Narlax Herald of the Flight nerf, which goes from dragons costing 1 to only your first dragon cost 1 each turn. And yeah, that's a pretty massive nerf. Now, I've not been a fan of these kind of cards where they just make any card cost 1 or 0, so I'm glad they changed it. But yeah, this I think pretty much kills the card, right? The whole point of this was to cheat out the budget dragons. Like, you could cheat out Ysera 1 turn earlier, but yeah, is that really worth a whole card in your deck for? And then, yeah, it's not that great outside of it. I don't think so, but yeah, this is mostly aimed at Zarimi Priest, which it kind of went away with all the Imbue Hunters, because the OTK deck of Hunter was just faster than Priest, so yeah, Zarimi Priest had no spot in the meta. But yeah, with I think Imbue Hunter getting deleted, Zarimi Priest might have just come back. And I think this nerf stops that, because without this, at the moment, I don't see a way for Zarimi Priest really to win. The OTK no longer exists, and I think other ways to OTK, they're also kind of too difficult for Priest to pull off. So yeah, pretty big nerf to Zarimi Priest, and I expect it won't be a tier 1 deck again. And the next nerf we have here is Shaladoso, which is going from 7 mana to 8 mana. And yeah, I think this is mostly done for the Paladin interaction with Ursel, so no longer you can go Ursel and immediately corrupt Shaladoso and get it 3 times in a row. Now, I think it should still work if you play a 9 mana card and then you play Ursel. But yeah, that is way slower, and Paladin wasn't really doing that. So that's good. And also, yeah, I think the card was a bit too common. It was a bit too easy to play this and get like a free sap, 10 burst for every deck, a board clear for every deck. I think it was a little bit too versatile and just took away weaknesses of some decks. So I think it's good to nerf it. It's a bit slower. I think it will still see some play, but definitely less than before. And then we also have some buffs with this patch. The first one is the Imbue Priest hero power, and it's getting a pretty big change because it gets added the word playable. And that is a pretty big deal, because it means whenever you press the hero power, it means the card you get, you can play. And that makes it so that no longer, you play it with 2 mana left, you get a 4-drop that you can't play, something like that. So that is great. You always get something useful, so it basically never is going to feel bad to press that hero power. I also like how there's a bit of decision making here, right? Like, are you going to hero power first, then play another card to maybe get like an expensive card, or are you going to play like, 4 mana card first, and then with 3 mana left, you press the hero power and then just have guaranteed something to play? I think that's going to be interesting, and I think it should make Priest significantly better. Though, I don't know if it's going to be, 10% plus better, because yeah, it's pretty bad at the moment. Imbue Priest, it's worse than Whizbang, and that says quite a bit. But maybe with some of the other early blowout turrets getting nerfed, you get a bit more time to basically ramp that hero power, and maybe it's finally gonna be viable. I'm not convinced yet. I feel like it's not yet quite there, but it should make it a lot better and just feel a lot better to play with it. And I think that's very good. Then the next hero power that changes is the Paladin hero power, the Blessing of the Dragon. For Imbue, and yeah, it goes from 2 to 1 mana. Kind of surprised by this change because yeah, hero powers, they rarely change their cost really, and all the Imbue hero powers are 2 mana. But I guess they wanted to buff Imbue Paladin, because also Imbue Paladin was also below Whizbang in terms of win rate, and there weren't really many other good ways to buff this card, so I guess it makes sense to make it 1 mana. I think it's a nice improvement for the hero power, because often, yeah, 2 mana, it's a bit clunky, right? Because you have to do it, and then, yeah, early on, you kind of want to press it to play like the draw cards, but then you only get like a 3-drop, 4-drop dragon. It's a little bit too slow. But now with 1 mana, it's way easier to fit in those hero powers in your turn. So nice buff, but yeah, just like Priest, I don't feel like it's gonna be quite viable, but it's a nice change that should make the deck feel a lot better to play. And the next change we have is to Warrior. Actually, Warrior gets 2 changes. First one is the Shallow Flame Suffusion, going from 3 mana to 2 mana, but now deals 2 damage. So yeah, 3 mana deal 3, it's pretty weak. But yeah, if they made the 2 mana deal 3 with an upside was a little bit too much, so I guess it makes sense they make it also deal 2. Problem is though, yeah, deal 2 doesn't kill a whole lot compared to 3. Though yeah, obviously, yeah, a mana decrease is pretty big, but yeah, the damage decrease also quite hurts it, so it's a bit of a buff, but not a huge buff, I'd say. Also because, yeah, the warrior minions you get with this just aren't that good. So, nice buff to it, but yeah, I don't think it suddenly is going to make this kind of warrior deck viable. And also we have a second warrior buff, which is a Dark Rider, which goes from a 1-1 to a 2-1. Now, I think this card was already kind of good, right? 1 mana. 1-1 that generates a card with an upside. I mean, that is already kind of good. Like, I don't think this buff is going to change too much. I feel like the other cards of Warrior, Dragon Warrior, are just bad, and yeah, this card didn't really need a buff, but hey, I guess it helps Warrior a bit. But I think at this point, this kind of Warrior is just not good enough anyway. That I don't think it's gonna be helping too much with it. And we have Living Flame getting buffed from a 2-2 to a 3-2. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. I guess it's a new card that didn't see much play. It saw play a bit in Rogue, but yeah. I don't know, it's a tiny buff. I don't think it's gonna matter too much. And not just the Priest hero power gets buffed, we also have the Priest minion getting buffed from mini set, the Spirit of the Kelderai. And now instead of gaining +2/+2 if you've hero powered, you gain +3/+3. So that means this is gonna be a 2 mana 4/6 lifesteal Todd. So that is quite nice, though I think it still has the same issue as it has before, is that yeah, you want a hero power with Priest, right? And then you still need to have 2 mana left for this, and kind of the card you get of the hero power. So I think it's still a little bit clunky, but yeah, getting a 2 mana 4/6, it's pretty good, right? 3/5 feel like it wasn't quite good enough, but a 4/6 makes quite a big difference. A lot of 5/5s, right? And then yeah, they can't kill this anymore. A value trade, it needs another one, so it's a nice change. It also is better now to get off the hero power of Priest, and especially if you have like 2 Abuse as Priest and you have 2 mana left, you press the hero power. Probably an okay chance to get this and play this for 0 mana off it. So a decent buff to Imbue Priest, and you might actually be running this card now. And the last change for standard is the Overgrown Horror, going from a 5 mana 4/6 to a 4 mana 3/5. And yeah, this is a nice buff, right? This card, it's a bit slow at 5 mana, even though it cheats a lot of mana. But yeah, I also don't think this card is gonna solve the problem, this buff of Wallow Warlock, because yeah, the thing is you have to play all these dark gift cards and they're all kind of bad tempo, and then yeah, you fall behind on tempo, you just lose, you don't really have a great way to come back usually. And then yeah, this is nice, but yeah, I don't think it's good enough, like reducing the cost of those cards. But yeah, you don't even necessarily want to play those cards too often, because you're just trying to get dark gifts in your hand to make Wallow be that ODK. And yeah, it's nice though, but the deck is just too bad that I don't think this will be enough for Wallow Warlock to be a good deck. We also have a few wild changes, but yeah, since you usually don't cover wild, I won't be discussing them too much. But first we have Order in Accord, going from 2 mana to 4 mana. Yeah, this card has been changed a lot, quite a few times back and forth, but yeah, it turns out a lot of Paladin decks are really good, and this will just slow down a lot of their decks that were relying on this card. And we also have Scab's Cannibal going from reducing cards by 3 to reducing cards by 2. I think you had to play this card over and over with Spirit of the Shark, which then made this card go off twice. And there was a few decks, I think, that had cards that cost more than 4 that should slow down a bit. So that is a good change. Also, we have Void Touch Attendant going from 1 to 2 mana. Yeah, Shadow Priest has been dominating Wild for quite a while, so I think it's a good change. But yeah, not being able to play it like turn 2 with some 1 mana pirates, just that does hurt it quite a bit. But yeah, Shadow Priest too good for too long, so maybe this way it's time for another deck to dominate a Wild. Also, we have Saronite Chain Gang getting nerfed because, yeah, with Prophet Velen, basically you just played Saronite Chain Gang, you play Velen, and you had an infinite Velen because it would resummon itself over and over, and there's nothing you can really do about it besides something like Silence or a Sap. And yeah, if your deck didn't have it, the game was pretty much over if you played for board this card, so that wasn't very fun. So it makes sense that this card gets nerfed again in the same way. It got nerfed before like this, then it got reverted, and now it's back. So it's probably gonna stay this way, because I don't think they're gonna revert it twice. I think they've learned their lesson from it. And we also have 2 cards getting banned in Wild, which are the Ever-Burning Phoenix and the Grove Shaper, because both of them could be abused by animation cheating. Because with animation cheating, you could play these cards way more often than intended, and yeah, that could be used for some pretty toxic infinite combo decks. And yeah, it's good it's getting banned, because yeah, animation cheating, it's not something that you would really want in the game. And those are all the changes for this patch. So yeah, quite a few, and I think, like I said, the King Plush change is going to make the biggest difference of them all, so we should get quite a different meta. Let me know what you think of the buffs and nerfs. What would you have liked to see, or do you agree with all of them? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you for watching, and until next time.